Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here with John Fitch for Mixed Martial Mindset as always, and we'll put on our fake radio voice for a moment. How you doing, John?
Oh, just fantastic. We're doing great here in the Bay Area.
Oh, just so great here in the Midwest. I got to tell you, I just love all the slavery. It's unbelievable.
Amazing. So awesome. Things are so great right now. It's like 900 degrees out here because there's fires and shit around.
You know, it's been pretty hot here too, but muggy hot. So like 2-3 times a day, you'll get just like a wild storm out of nowhere, but then the thickness doesn't really go away. What surprised me,
we'd be happy to get some rain and storms.
You know, I'm so glad that you brought up the heat because that'll segue perfectly just to this opener. So yesterday, I happened to be at this protest. I made the local media. We'll show that. I was amongst about 300 or so people, okay? And out of these 300 or so people of them, many were nurses and doctors. We were at a Genesis protest, okay? Now, at the Genesis protest, basically, you had all these medical professionals that worked there and their families protesting mandatory jabs. It was 95 degrees out. Felt hotter, John. 3 people from the media showed up. This gentleman was one of them. Out of the 300 plus people, 2 people had masks on, and it was 2 out of the 3 people from the media. This goes down a full block, folks, and on the other way as well. All right, this is just a small sample of it. If you watched yesterday, you saw me berate that gentleman for the weak filth that he is, because, you know, he's sitting there promoting that in an argument with one of these guys about getting the, you know, V word. And I'm just like, this dude is weak and pathetic. And, you know, if you want to see that, by the way, I have coupled all 3 parts of that. Let's see if we have it all the way down here. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. All 3 parts of that over here on Rockfin, where you can see the beginnings of the protest, me interviewing nurses. There is the media masked man right there in the back. I can't believe he's telling me I'm weak. But I want people to realize that this guy's supposed to be covering a protest, John. Okay.
Outside with the mask on that's 10 to 12% efficient in actually doing anything.
Listen, let's not cite studies.
I believe the science. I believe science. No, you don't. You believe propaganda. You believe what you're being told.
Well, again, let's take a look. Let's just take a look at what John's talking about. This is the study that John's talking about right here. N95 masks are more effective, but they're like 13% effective. If you look at this, that's 12.4 and then 9.8 respectively. That, and what that means isn't even the aerosolized stuff. That means droplets. So the things that come from droplets, that's all it's filtering. We need to stop living in imagination land like that man. And think about that. That guy, John, he works for the authoritative source. He's the guy. In fact, you know what? Because we started with him.
Freedom is slavery.
I'll say this. So the other kid actually put out a video yesterday, and it was another masked person all the way on the other side in his 20s. I shamed him as well in the video. You can go watch it. I literally had to walk across the street twice to go shame this young man wearing this mask on behalf of the mainstream media. But I'll say this. The coverage, although short, was pretty evened. But then they kind of show me nodding my head and going like this, right? Like I'm mad at them. No, I was looking at the guy in the mask. And I couldn't believe that he was wearing it. In fact, that's what triggered me to do it. So let's play that news clip here.
Well, I saw it this morning. Some lady outside walking her dog. Nobody around her for 100 yards with a mask on.
Shouldn't have 2? Shouldn't have 3?
There was a lady. Where's the lady in the car yesterday we're driving next to that had 2 masks on in the car?
Yeah. Yeah,
he's going to live so much longer than the rest of us.
And here's the thing, man. The guy wearing it is the guy that's taken at least, you know, the 1 jab that's everything or 2 jabs. And he's going to take 3 and 4 and 5. And that's what I said to him. I go, this guy's going to take every one. He'll wear a mask to bed if you tell him. So here's the mainstream. Again,
to the street today protesting a vaccine requirement at one local health system. Community members and employees of Genesis Health System gathered outside of Genesis West in Davenport this afternoon.
So they showed me nodding at the guy, and I'm literally looking at the cameraman. Let's play it again.
Health System gathered outside of Genesis West in Davenport this afternoon.
And I can't believe it. It's unbelievable to me.
Over the vaccine mandate for workers announced earlier this month, requiring employees to get the shot by November. Several people held signs saying, "My body, my choice," also stop the mandate, and protesters are hoping their voices are heard.
So again,
if you don't want to get the shot, we shouldn't be mandated to get the shot.
And Genesis Health officials said earlier this month that their commitment is on providing the safest care environments throughout the company.
Oh, really? Then why are you mandating that when you have all these health professionals that say that they don't want it? And let's start going down the line. By the way, guys, thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. We didn't do the spiel. JohnFitch.net is where you find everything John Fitch. Rockfin, by the way, is where we're going to have to go to do some of these news stories. Okay? So at some point, we will break off probably about halfway today because there is a lot to cover. Okay? So, and we're going to talk a little fights. We'll talk Woodley. We'll talk Paul. We'll talk about, basically the UFC and some other things. But if you really want to hear the hardcore stuff that we can't talk about here, and there's quite a few of those stories, let's just kind of go down the line. We can do the Larry Elder one here. We can do this one here, which is might get us kicked off. I'm not going to lie. But we'll talk about that in a second. We can show you this. I can't discuss it. Basically, this is
hardcore radio propaganda going on all day long in San Jose.
Wait.
Don't let the Republicans steal happen. They're trying to get a racist, anti-vax propaganda spreader, whatever the hell, false information spreader.
Well,
it's just hammering.
Let's talk about that, John. Let's talk
This is
about
the last stand. If you're in California, you better vote. You better vote for, even if you don't like Larry Elder, just vote for the recall. Say yes for the recall. He needs to go.
So, John, I'm so glad you said that because we still haven't gotten through all these, but we're just going to hit them bullet points, guys. This is mixed martial motherfucking mindset today.
Get into it.
So, this is Larry Elder committing to people. And listen, I'm suspect. I think that, first of all, I obviously think Larry Elder is much better than Gavin Newsom and all those things. But the way that our electoral system has worked and been completely unaccountable from real audits at this point, we have to be aware of and not be children. That's number one. And they're pretty cocky about this. And again, the West Coast has some of the most stringent lockdowns and also has some of the most corrupt systems in place that if they did want to steal an election or maybe fortify it, they could do that. Now,
there's a full-blown fortification happening as we speak right now. I guarantee. They found a guy with guns and like 300 ballots. There's a whole lot of fortification going on, folks.
Whole lot of fortification going on. Quote that one from Fitch. Now,
but they still can't stop you if everybody shows up. If everybody shows up and votes yes on the recall, like I don't think they can cheat bad enough to fortify it in their favor.
I don't know. There's a lot of fortifying going on these days that are slipping into the face of reality.
A whole lot of fortifying going on.
So here's Larry Elder. This was posted, I believe, last week. He has said the masks will go. The V words will go. There will be no mandates. Let's play that clip.
I become governor, assuming.
Hold on. There we go. Let's get that loud.
I appreciate the optimism, sir. When I become governor, assuming there are still mandates for vaccines and mandates for face masks, they will be repealed before I have my first cup of tea.
There's not one mask in that audience.
Not one mask. Thousands of people. They're partying at Obama's house. Jake Paul and Logan sold the place out last night. Let's get into that. Sold the place out, and the only people wearing masks were the ones that weren't behind the barriers. And that's for show. Just like that guy in a mask over there with his camera, that's for show. That's where the authorities, we know what we're doing. We're safe. The plebs, let them eat cake. What is going on?
So I've talked to some bar owners, and they have vaccine passports and stuff in San Francisco right now.
Okay.
Not down here in San Jose, but in San Francisco they do. They have some in LA. But the bar owners, they don't care. They don't care. They're just looking. If you show them a napkin, they're going to wave you in and be like, okay, you've got it. They're trying to make their money. They don't care. So it's a big whatever.
Well, what it is,
phony. They're not actually even enforcing a lot of this stuff. I have guys who talked about how, with their jobs, because a lot of people have been working from home. So they're strong-arming the companies because they're valuable resources to the companies, and the companies don't want to lose them. So they're like, okay, well, hey, you have to sign these agreements saying that if anything negative happens to me because of this shot, you're going to take financial responsibility. So the companies are saying, okay, well, you don't need it. You can work from home. Because they don't want to lose the talent. If you're a talented person, if they need you to work for them, you can stand up and be like, nope, I'm not doing this. Guys are taking new jobs and being like, okay, I just want to make sure that not now or ever in the future will I be needed to take any medical procedures in order to have this job. And they're bowing down and being like, oh, yes, no, we would never do that, because the companies need people. They're struggling to find good workers right now. They're struggling. So, hold your ground. Hold your ground. Push them up against the wall and make you guarantees for your health. Make guarantees for not forcing you to take medical procedures you don't want.
I agree 1,000% with that. Unfortunately, there are so many people out there that do not have a skilled job and that are about to be automated out. Glad you said that. There's two things in there. You talked about liability.
That's what they want anyways. That's what they're trying to do anyways. They're trying to bankrupt as many businesses as they can, and they want to get ready for automation. They want as many people out of work as they can. Force them on the tit of the government. Make sure they're getting their government stymie checks.
Listen, again, you're 1,000% on, and we're going to play a clip in a second on whether or not you've even now got the liability via the FDA approval of the Pfizer vaccine. I don't want any medical disinformation here, but I'm just going to say this right now. There are people that are reporting that the shot that Pfizer has out now currently is still under liability protection. Once the FDA approves it, then lawsuits could happen, et cetera, especially if they're mandated to get it. That's like the rule. But right now, all these shots are supposedly still basically have that liability if there's injury, right? So this guy Monograth actually called the FDA woman and asked her at her home, John, if that was the case. So we're going to play that clip before it gets taken down, and that's the clip that might get us banned from YouTube, but we're going to do it. Thumbs up. Let's get 100 thumbs up. Speaking to automation, I'm going to read this to you, and I want a lot of people to listen to this. Okay, good afternoon. This was to my friend. I'm not going to make this statement public on your post because people won't understand or like what I have to say. And basically, he was talking about how this is transhumanism, how...
Well, hundreds of people taking to the streets.
Sorry, guys. We'll take that right off. So anyway, he says this is, basically automation is coming. So this is what this guy says. Again, I won't put this on your post because people won't understand or like what I have to say, but you're right in your post about automation. I'm the chief engineer for a small defense contract. Over the past 18 months, I've automated 65% of our process. Hold on. Over the next year, I'll automate an additional 20%. 2 months ago, I started another manufacturing company, and it's fully automated, and it runs 24/7, 365. It only requires a human to be there to load raw materials once a day and only takes 2 hours. Okay? And then he says, people have no idea how easy it is to automate 80% of the jobs out there. Very few jobs can't be automated. And by the way, I have that person's name. I looked them up. That's very real. I'm not putting that out publicly, again, because that's from a personal friend who sent me that today. And people need to realize that's coming. And if you don't think that's coming along with what this, go ahead.
Look what's happened in the year of the lockdown with the food industry. Mm-hmm. Okay, you walk in, you sit down at a table. There's no hostess there. You take a picture of the QR code. You order from your phone, and then somebody comes out and hands you your food. Like, it's not going to take long for that to be on some motorized cart that just brings it comes out.
It already exists.
Here's our drinks. Here's our stuff.
Yes. Well, what is the Domino's pizza delivery drone? The new Amazon drones, if you haven't seen them, it's in a similar car. A robot gets out of the back, gives you your package at the door, and then leaves. It's
Here up on Rockfin, I have a video where I went back to, I did a walk and talk with my buddy Mo, Coach Mo, and we were in Lafayette. We're in Purdue University, West Lafayette, on campus, walking around, looking around at the old stuff, having some stories. And lo and behold, this little robot is driving up the street. I'm like, what is this? And I guess you can order food from the cafeteria there on campus, and it'll drive it to where you're at. It'll drive it to your dorm. It'll drive it to whatever building you're in. So like they already had the food delivery robots. They're already there. They're already using them some places.
And, again, when we talk about this and automation and people like Dennis Bushnell saying it's not clear what human beings will do, and the push for a UBI and to keep you home and to strip small businesses and to localize mandates and to really get your movement down. I just want to show this. I can't really talk about it. We're going to talk about this on the flip side of this conversation. We're still going to stay on YouTube for a little bit longer, but this is a real graph, and you notice the blue countries right here. I'm sorry, this is the continent of Africa. So yes, the blue countries right here. Okay, those blue countries use the I word. It's over my shoulder. Let me do a little shimmy. You can kind of see it. I don't want to say it. Okay, that's the death rate in those countries. You see the flat line, like that's under my shoulder. Okay, now look at the other lines. What do those lines show you? They're a little higher, aren't they? They're a little higher. And they don't use that. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird how that works, John. But again, the FDA, who's supposed to be our friend, says it's not for horses. So this is where we're going to bring the FDA in. There's a lot of discussion.
I'm a horse, though.
You're a beastly.
You can go. Rumor has it you go on DuckDuckGo and type in where to buy that I word, and there'll be places that they show you where you can buy with Bitcoin.
Oh.
Legend has it. I don't know if it's true, though.
I don't know, but the legend has it. Wait, hold on.
Legend has it.
Legend has it. The great people can use Bitcoin for the I word. All right. So, oh man. Do you on your end? Do you hear the effect on that when I do it?
No,
not at all. Okay.
You get a little muted. You get a little muted.
Oh, do I really? Is that what happens? I get lower when
on
I
my
hit that
end,
button?
yeah.
Okay.
Your voice goes low a little bit.
Interesting. All right. So this guy, Monograph, at October Reigns, God knows if he's going to have that Twitter handle or how long this video is going to be up. But he's done some interesting things in the past, and he calls up, let me say this, the commissioner of the FDA, Janet Woodcock, to ask her a very simple question: whether or not this approval ends the liability protection on the Pfizer boop boop. So let's see what she has to say.
Does everybody know what today is? Today is Bojangle Sunday. It sure is. We are going to contact the person in charge of the Food and Drug Administration at our house.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Is Janet there?
This is Janet.
Yes, hello, Janet. My name is Steve Quest. I'm on the Monograph channel. I'm doing a live show, and there's a lot of people really concerned about the FDA approval that was given to the vaccine, and I'm just asking for a little bit of clarity. And the clarity I'm looking for, has the liability shield been lifted from the current vaccine that is readily available in the United States?
Yes, well, I think it would be good for you to talk to the FDA press office. It's a complicated matter, and it is available. So thank you very much. Goodbye.
It's complicated.
How's it complicated, ladies and gentlemen? It's either the liability shield has been lifted or it hasn't. How is that complicated? She was caught off guard and she's nervous. You could hear it in her voice. Very, very nervous.
And notice the flip phone. Listen, shout out to Monograph. Shout out to Spiro, who keeps, no matter how many times they ban him over on Twitter, he keeps coming back. He puts up a lot of good stuff. I would encourage you to follow both these guys because, again, they do good work. And look, You don't have to agree with everything. I don't want you to agree with everything I say, but that's straight up. Listen, that's the kind of activism we need, except for we need to get them in person and put them on record that's still pretty good because he caught her off guard at home, and obviously, he did so in a manner where he didn't dox her. She should still.
Did you
Go ahead.
see the guy who took a picture with Trudeau?
Trudeau called him a commie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally saw
Commie
that.
F.
Listen, that's the kind of activism we need. And look, I'm not perfect. Some people will be mad at me as fired up as I got up at Maskey McGee yesterday, but I don't care. It's over. It's time not to play pretend. And when he's the authoritative,
time to push back, make him feel uncomfortable.
well, if he's the authoritative source and he's willing to roll his sleeve up and get shots 3 through 5 and wants to force these people and their families to take it, make no mistake, these localized mandates don't stop at jobs. They're going for your kids next. I promise you. They're already doing it in other countries. So Kimberly S. says this over at Rockfin. I want to thank her for the tip. Loved your fire at the protest yesterday, Jason. Way to get out there and show people standing up. Well, more and more people need to stand up. In fact, I'm going to be in Bettendorf, Iowa, okay, on Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, obviously Iowa time, and we're going to be at Trinity. I'm doing the same thing with other people that don't want this mandate, okay? That's the bottom line. And you know what? I said maybe I'd go 30 minutes here, but look, we got a pretty good stream going over at YouTube. But if you want to hear how I really feel and you want to see more stories, because we got a line of stories. We haven't even talked Woodley and Jake Paul. We will in a moment. We'll talk about Ed Asner's death. We'll show you dogs. Have you seen the dogs attacking protesters?
No, they let dogs go home protesters. Is that America or is this Australia? It's London.
Dude, that's on his neck. And you know what? That's not even a traditional German Shepherd. That's a terrier mix. In other words, that's a pit bull mix of some sort. You can't really say pit bulls are real. That's either an American Staffordshire Terrier mix or a Bull Terrier mix. That is a strong dog going at someone's neck at an anti-lockdown protest. I'm going to turn the sound down because it's just too horrifying for me to listen to as the woman screams for the thing to get off his neck. But what is going on? Like these are anti-lockdown protesters that are showing nobody any harm, okay? And now dogs are attacking them. Westernized countries, okay? So that's London. This woman, we can't talk about this, but this is a doctor, again, being suspended for her comments about the boop shot. We're going to cover that on the flip side. This is what's going. This is what they're training your children to be slaves. And on top of all this, guys, they're going to inject them with whatever they want. If you allow this to happen to your kids, it's over. It's over. You cannot allow this. Look, there's my biometric eye scan. There's my biometric eye scan. There's my slave card. They're training your children to be prisoners. I cannot be more upset about this. You should be enraged. This will not happen to my nieces. It will not. And you should literally, if you don't think this is the next step within the next 12 to 18 months in westernized countries, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. So again, we can't read this here. This is Dr. Pierre Corey. It's something we're going to do on the flip side. And again, if you want to see me taking on the masked media, it's on Rockfin. You can check it out after this YouTube video. But before we go over exclusively to Rockfin and go make that free account, follow both of us. If you endorse us for $9.99 a month, you get to see everybody's premium content. $100 gets a whole year. You get locked in. Ray token, a little bit higher than 2 today, buddy. We
Nice.
moving. We shaking. We going.
I haven't been checking it. I'm holding. I'm hodling
Yes.
like a mother.
You need to. I think it's going to be well on its way past 5, but that's not advice, folks. But now you can get it on Uniswap, and you can get large portions of it rather short. So if you want to invest in a network that's all about free speech, that's all the Ray token does. It empowers Jason Burmis to make videos like this one. So, hey, that's another way to support me indirectly and maybe make a nice little investment for yourself. What do you know? What do you think about that? Hey, I'm not telling you what to do. Woodley.
Banks are zeros. Banks are zeros.
That's right. What do you think? What did you think about Woodley and Paul last night? I know you did a broadcast.
I mean, I don't know. It was MMA stand-up under boxing rules.
Yeah, without the leg kicks.
they didn't really, well, no. I mean, like the range, there was no counter punching, it just was, hackish. It was a very hackish boxing match. And there's a good possibility that it's all just one big pro wrestling event, that none of it's actually real, that the Dana and the Paul brothers are laughing with Tookers in the back room at everybody's stupidity.
Well, I'll say this.
Because I just, because they try to pull some cute stuff, right? So it's like, oh, well, Woodley can do this fight because he's not under contract anymore. His contract ran out and he can go and he can fight whoever he wants to, right? Whereas GSP couldn't fight Oscar De La Hoya because he still has, he's still under contract with UFC, so he can't. So they can tell him no. Okay, so that's the whatever image you're kind of fed. But when they're showing highlights of Tyron Woodley, his fighting career, they're showing Strikeforce videos. Who do you think owns those videos?
Yeah, but you know what? There might be a backlog deal with Showtime because they had the logs then. When he was fighting in Showtime. That's what I thought too, because I thought the same thing.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe. But at the same time, it's iffy. Because UFC doesn't make mistakes. They don't do things loose.
Yeah, but again, I think that I don't know, man. It's almost like the carrot on a stick because Woodley knew it was his biggest payday, and he immediately went for the work at the end. And we were joking, me and Militich. I'm like, I go, by the 6th round, we were like, oh boy, get ready for the next fight on this one. I go, it's gonna be Woodley Paul too.
It's super close. I call it rigged, and then because the next fight they were trying to push was the Fury guy, and he was terrible.
He was
terrible.
He's
not a boxer at all.
Well, he didn't look good either. Believe me, Militich,
he looks like a Jersey Shore character.
That's what I said to Militich. I go, he's a chiseled dude, and like they're gonna try to sell him. Yeah,
they took him off the Jersey Shore, put some boxing gloves on him.
So yeah, we had Joe Biden. I guess we should do this before we leave over at YouTube. But again,
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, we had Joe Biden on the cover of this. We didn't really get to it. I pretty much agree with you. It's kind of a circus, but it's big money circus. It is hackish. Militich was going nuts at the skill level of the boxing.
The best fighters on the card were, I think, probably the girl fight. It was the co-main.
Yeah, it was. It was the best fight.
I don't remember their names.
Serrano, I think Serrano was the one, or Mercado. Serrano, Mercado, something like that. Both of them. Decent fight, but again, worth $60. And they blocked the VPN this time. You couldn't buy it for $15. They figured it out. Like I did with the Askren fight. So I'm very upset about that. Someone's listening to Mixed Martial Mindset. Anyway, Biden. Now, I know that it went viral with him like sleepy with the Israeli prime minister, but if you watch that, that's like minimum in comparison to say what he did after the Kabul attack. I did a live stream of that. He literally put his head down for like almost 30 seconds. He's not mentally capable. And I got to tell you, this is how I see it rolling out. I don't think they're going to take him out over incompetence. I don't think that they will bite down on that one. I think if it gets taken out, it will be a false flag in the sense that they will either coerce or allow some veteran or current military person to kill him. That's how, one last job for Zombie Joe, Joey B, the company man. That's how some gangsters go out, guys. Some gangsters, they get to the top, but you know what happens? Uh-oh, Paul Castellano, boom, 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 huh? Happens. And that would be the perfect setup for what we've seen. We saw big bomber guy in his truck recently. They just checked on the mental health of that recent Marine who made that video talking about his friend that's been in solitary from the January 6th event. That fits their narrative. So I think that's a large possibility. There is always the possibility that he could just drop dead anyway. I mean, eventually he could. Some people can live in that state of dementia for some time. He's definitely got the best doctors out there. But at some times, your heart goes, your brain goes. It's over.
They'll just leave him in the bath unattended for a little bit extra, a little bit too long.
And then we have to talk about successors. So obviously, they have not put Kamala Harris as the face of this administration. Okay, John? They put her in the background very much. They kind of allowed her to sneak under the radar.
They figure if they put her and hide her away, people will forget how much they don't like her.
Yeah. My guess is if she does come into the presidency of the United States, which really, I mean, come on, how could she not at this point? Like, eventually they'll have to burn Joe all the way. They're starting to burn him in the media. This Afghanistan situation, look, again, our military-industrial complex knows they could have done it much differently. It was done that way on purpose, okay? For all this press, that you don't think they'll sacrifice a dozen, 2 dozen, 100 U.S. soldiers, 1,000 U.S. soldiers? You don't know what this is, okay? So that's in there. Who do they put in? Well, I don't think they can put Andrew Cuomo in as vice president. My brother believes that nightmare. I do not. I think Corey.
You don't think they would sacrifice? What did they do for 20 years in Afghanistan?
Mm-hmm.
You know, tell me that every life lost there wasn't a sacrifice for nothing. What did we get out of it? Some cheap Oxycontin?
Well, I could get into what we really got out of it. I mean, when you look at what we did, we got to run the infrastructure of the very biometrics those children were just using right there, right? You saw them duck in, right? We got to beta test all that. We got to legitimize drones in the sky. We just used them again, right? We killed an interpreter and his family. Obama's numbers, everybody, for the drone bombings were 90% civilian. Let me repeat that number. 90% civilian deaths. So they legitimized the genocide of innocent people in the Middle East. There are now Predator drones in Australia, okay, because this is a global operation. It's not just the United States. It's the United States and their allies, and then it's NATO. It's not just the WHO. So that's what we really did. And then we cut deals with the opium dealers, the lithium dealers, okay, and the oil dealers. Don't think that we don't have that. Now, right now, we can kind of cut ties with the oil for chaos because we're trying to raise prices on oil, have a false scarcity, stop producing our own, and get back in bed with the Saudis, right? So you get to play same false narratives. This is Zbigniew Brzezinski's The Grand Chessboard, everybody, replayed. But now they want those drones here in America. We're the domestic terrorists. They've built the infrastructure. Signature reduction has been around a decade. And I want to get wild on the other side over on Rockfin because we're going to talk about the depopulation. We're going to talk about the medical martial law tyranny, and we can't do it here. So, Fitch, for the YouTube audience, before they go over to Rockfin to watch the rest of this video, tell people where they can find your stuff.
JohnFitch.net. Follow me on the Twitter. I've got a lot of self-defense, fighting, teaching going on. I got stuff up on Rockfin for you to watch behind the premium wall. Putting up stuff all the time on YouTube, podcasts. Give me a follow. Get on the mail list. Check it out.
So before we go over to Rockfin, I think that we're going to play, are we going to play the Chicago video or the Australia euthanasia video? Which one do you want, Fitch? I'm going to let you roll the dice on it.
Here the Chicago one. They're taking the mother's child away.
Yep. All right, we'll do that.
Cook County judge took away her parental rights after learning she's not vaccinated.
Dane Placco is at Daily Plaza with details on this story. Dane?
It may be a first-of-its-kind case. A Cook County judge here at the Daily Center has stripped a Chicago mom of her parenting rights because she's refused to get the COVID vaccine.
And he is a very sweet boy. He's my whole world.
You miss him?
I miss him more than anything.
Rebecca Furlet has been divorced for 7 years and shares custody of her 11-year-old son with her ex-husband. What had been a 50-50 split in parenting time. But on August 10th, in an unrelated child support hearing, Cook County Judge James Shapiro asked Furlet whether she'd been vaccinated. When she told the judge no because she's had bad reactions to vaccines in the past, Judge Shapiro stripped Furlet of all of her parenting time until she agrees to get vaccinated.
I think that it's wrong. I think that it's dividing families, and I think that it's not in my son's best interest to be away from his mother.
Furlet is now asking the appellate court to stay the judge's order, her attorney saying the judge has overstepped his authority.
You have to understand, the father did not even bring this issue before the court. So it's the judge on his own making this decision that you can't see your child until you're vaccinated.
We just wanted the mother to pay support.
The father's attorney, Jeffrey Leving, says while they were surprised by the order, he believes the judge is making the right call, given the seriousness of the pandemic.
And there are children that have died because of COVID. I think every child should be safe.
So this guy's
8% survival rate for children.
Well, again, we can't give any numbers, but I just wanted people to see that. We're going to play the euthanasia commercial for Australia and show you the propaganda level the Nazis never would have got to on the other side. You can support me financially down below. Again, premium subscriptions on the Rockfin are extremely appreciated. I'll be doing the Union of the Unwanted as well tonight. Guys, if you're on YouTube, I'm sorry, it's about to get spicy, so we'll see